Speaker Pelosi and G7 parliamentarians, thank you for the opportunity to discuss the imperative of climate action and environmental justice. It is devastatingly clear now that the climate crisis is upon us. It's not a faraway threat in the distant future. The escalating cost and damage to people across the world demands action now. Destructive wildfires and floods are pushing families and indigenous people out of their communities. Monster hurricanes and storms are destroying crops and destroying businesses. And scorching heat waves are making life harder for farm workers, worsening air quality and exacerbating health issues, especially for children and the vulnerable. The loss of life and livelihoods is projected to worsen unless we act with urgency and ambition. We know that the impacts are disproportionately harmful to frontline communities, communities of color, and vulnerable populations, and are often the result of decades of intentional discrimination and inadequate investment rooted in racism. So, we believe that climate solutions must do more than cut carbon pollution. They also must tackle the legacy of environmental racism and build a clean energy economy that helps those who need it most in tangible ways. That's what Speaker Pelosi envisioned when she asked me to lead the House Select Committee on the Climate Crisis. Our job was to draft a roadmap for congressional action that would improve the lives of the American people, with environmental justice at the center of it all. And that's what we did. Our Climate Crisis Action Plan charts a course to the net zero emissions economy wide as soon as possible, but no later than 2050. In doing so, our plan empowers frontline communities by creating a private right of action for citizens who are disproportionately harmed by pollution. It calls on the government to truly protect these communities through stronger and just enforcement of environmental laws. And it demands meaningful engagement with vulnerable communities, as well as necessary investments in renewable energy, resilience, and jobs. As we drafted our plan, we were guided by the leadership of experts like Dr. Robert Bullard, who has dedicated his life's work to environmental justice, and Gina McCarthy, who has led groundbreaking climate action at the state and federal level for decades. In 2019, Dr. Bullard and other environmental justice leaders came together with leading environmental groups like the Natural Resources Defense Council in support of the Equitable and Just Climate Platform, a landmark document that I recommend to you as you advance climate action. From protecting kids in neighborhoods without shade to investing in tools for towns that are prone to flooding, we must focus our policies on helping those who need it most. And we must partner with Black, Brown, Indigenous, and tribal communities to create a more just society for all. I'd like to thank Speaker Pelosi, who has made climate justice a priority in the U.S. Congress since day one. It takes real leadership to stand up to powerful special interests on behalf of the American people, to put families and workers first, and to listen to the young Americans who are fighting for climate solutions. Last year, Speaker Pelosi and the House passed the first major climate bill through the House of Representatives in a decade to ensure that the U.S. maintains its commitments under the Paris International Climate Accords. And now we intend to press forward with our committee's sweeping roadmap for action that has been described as the most detailed and well thought out plan for addressing climate change that has ever been part of U.S. politics. America is poised to return to a leadership role in the world in charting the clean energy future. And as we solve the climate crisis, we must repair the legacy of environmental pollution and inequity. We have a moral obligation to do so and to build a better world for our children. So thank you for sharing this vision, and I look forward to a productive conversation.